Okay, everybody should be muted on the bottom left of your screen, and I want to officially welcome everybody to our first client appreciation call. My name is Cheri Martinson, and I have been a health coach for almost 4 years, and we started our health journey a little longer than that, and basically 4 years ago, as a wife and a mom with 4 kids, I was extremely unhealthy, physically, mentally, and financially. We were also not in good shape. So 4 years later, our health program, I lost 40 pounds and maintained it, and had still maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And the clarity and energy and positivity, though, that has come from the weight really just became a side effect, even though that's the reason I got started. And so now helping other people get mentally, physically, and financially healthy is really blessing my life in way more ways than I expected it to. So a little bit of today's call is about really just appreciating clients who are on that journey with us, and to really emphasize the community that really helps that stay, because it's a journey. So we do have a couple of our clients are going to share their stories with us. And then all of you who are on the call, if we have questions for them after they share, we can ask questions after they share as well. So our first client who's going to share about his journey is actually my husband, Dave. So we're going to have him share about his story.
Well, thank you, Cheri. Yeah, so my story began in 2014. I was just tired of being tired. I was in a place where I was having trouble tying my shoes. I felt like I had to take a nap at like 3 o'clock every day. I was just exhausted. Was having trouble at work. Work was very stressful. My whole life kind of was feeling stressed, and I wasn't living in integrity, nor was I being authentic, and basically lying to myself about how I was doing. So at that point, someone I trusted and someone who believed in me shared his story with me for his journey, and he offered me the gift of Optavia. And I just said, okay, I got to do something. So that day changed my life forever, and I will never go back to the way of life I was living then. From the beginning of the journey with Optavia, I had more energy. The urge to take a nap every afternoon gone. My mind became clearer. My family, friends, coworkers, they began to notice that I was changing, not just in losing weight, but just overall behavior, mindset, and my work was improving. It was just amazing changes taking place. And then soon I had lost 73 pounds, and I was just a different person. And then I started to think, okay, what did I learn? What happened? How do I get here? What do I want to do? Because now I have a clearer mind. And using my coach and the Habits of Health book and the community, I started engaging and learning. And those things that were obstacles, I talked about earlier, stress and just all these negative things. Those obstacles I had conquered or was still in the process of conquering, and continued to learn about myself and feel like, hey, you know what? I started feeling like I was 21, 22, 23 years old again, just entering the world going, wow, there's so much out here, and be able to dream. So it's been 4 years since I got to a place of health with my body. And since then, been working on my mind, working on spirituality, all different aspects of my life. I now really authentically myself. I live each day in integrity. I take every personal development opportunity I can in order to move myself to achieve my dreams. I continue to create new habits for myself, and this is one of the key things that helped me keep the weight off and stay in a healthy place. Because I learned that I had all these bad habits, and looking at trying to how do I get rid of those. I was trying to figure out how do I create a new habit, or how do I get rid of an old habit. And my mindset came to where I was saying to myself, I'm just going to create a habit that is in opposition to my current habit. And that's how I will remove any bad habits that I have. Because if I am choosing this new habit that is in total opposition to my old habit, then I will never choose that old habit. That old habit will go away. So I've created new habits for myself that are in total opposition to old habits. And now these new habits are what dominate my life rather than me. In the past, the old habit was it was a habit where I didn't think about it. I just did the bad habit. Now I've changed that so that when I'm doing my new habits are automatic. And those habits are my first instinct to choose the new habit that I created for myself for a healthier life. So the other part of in my journey here is, and this was a recent revelation to sort of describe. Well, first of all, I became a health coach, which has helped me stay accountable, and to myself and to my family, friends, coworkers, and just others in my life. But one of the things that I did in this journey, I've kind of discovered, because someone shared this with me, I looked at this in a way that I kind of wrote out sort of my understanding of as a health coach, or why a health coach. It's because I can be a gateway for others, helping them to see what is possible, giving them hope, vision, and for lifelong transformation into the best version of themselves. So if I'm able to fully master that and make this a belief like that is second nature, and I don't have to think about it, then it becomes, as I work that out and let that become my mission, my dream of coaching, then I believe that is what's going to keep me continuing to grow in optimal health in all the different facets of my life that make up what optimal health is to me. So that's kind of my story and why I'm helping others now. And because someone I trusted that believed in me shared this with me, and now my life is forever changed.
Anyone have any questions for Dave about his story or his journey? How it relates to him, or questions, about your own stuff, but obviously from his story, he might be able to help with.
Dave,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, in terms of your transition from one part of the program to another, an example would be 5-1, 4-2, and things of that nature. How did that transition go in your case?
For me, it was about learning, right? So I did a lot of questioning. Okay, what can I eat? How many can I eat? How much? How's all this work out? And the thing that I came to understand is during that transition into maintenance, is you still have to, you're not off. You're basically, you still have to use your coaches. You have to use the community and the resources, because they have the answer. So everybody's already, it's like you're asking me, and I'm going to answer because somebody else had helped me at that time when I had the same questions. And so for me, first of all, a lean and green, that doesn't change. What you're doing is you're adding the other components of food that is good for you. I use nutrition support. I send them an email. Do I really have to eat grains? And they're like, yeah, you should eat grain. They so basically send me an email saying why I should make sure I add that to my meal plan, my fuelings. Same thing with the dairies. And then learning how much of that, right? And so I did it very strategic. I was very much, okay, I'm going to add this and then see how it affects my body. Like, does it give me a stomach ache if I eat that? Does it bother me? Does it change my digestive tract? What does it do? And so I tried to take all those steps because at this point, I've done all this hard work using a simple system of the 5-in-1 to get to where I was. And I was like, okay, now I want to make sure that I'm doing the right things here. And that is a huge piece of learning that. So it was adding those pieces piece by piece and making sure how it affected me and impacted me, using the resources to add to where I would, okay, I can have this. This is a type of meal that I want. I was very boring with it at first. Okay, I'm going to have my chicken and my lettuce, my salad, and now I'm going to add, this fruit and this glass of milk or whatever, and this, rice. Very clean cut. Didn't worry about casseroles and all the other fun stuff we can eat that I would like to have. But I went really vanilla on it, learning what should this look like for lifelong. I want to do this. I'm never going back to how it was. So what can I do? How can I do it? And I used the resources, and I did it in a way for myself that works for me. I'm very strategic like that. And that's what worked for me. And continuing, drinking my water, eating 6 times a day. Nothing's changed in my schedule except I added more food to my meals.
Thanks, Dave.
Anybody else have any questions? And you might have said it, but I'm not sure. So you lost 73 pounds in how long?
It was 4 months. When my original coach said, hey, you ordered the stuff, it comes in a box, you open it, follow the directions, drink a lot of water, and that's what you got. And so that's what I did. And they said, read the book. So I read the book. So it's simple, not easy. I learned quite a bit about myself, but I did learn how to stop and challenge and choose. And that is a key factor in every moment of my life right now. Every moment, I believe that in every moment we're making a decision. Am I going to walk? Am I going to run? Am I going to answer the phone, answer the door? What am I going to do? What am I going to do next? Or it's always that. So if I look at those decisions and then in my habit to do a stop, challenge, choose, am I making the right decision for myself at that moment? And that's what I try to do. Actually, that's what I do. I don't try to do anything. I just do it or I don't do it. So that's something I learned as well. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave. And I want to introduce our next speaker, and that is Kim, to also share her story with us.
Hello. Have to turn on the microphone. That helps. So my name is Kim Leatherman, and I have been a client since November of 2017. And basically for me, how it was before Optavia was I had a very predictable way that I would do plans to get healthy, whether it was Weight Watchers or an anti-inflammatory plan or just trying to, diet and exercise, however it was, I would jump in and do really well for a week or two because in my mind, I had to do it right or else I failed. So a week or two would go by or however long it ended up being. And, eventually, so predictable, I would come across life and life would throw something at me that I was stressed about or I would get emotional about. And in my mind, I failed because I had a bowl of ice cream or I had some pizza or whatever was not on my plan. And when I did that, it disempowered me. And that was really key because when I got disempowered, I was like, okay, blew it. So because I blew it for that meal, I blew it for the day. That day was no good. And then, you could really generalize that to, well, I can't say I had a successful week because that day was blown, and so it would just snowball. And then suddenly I was off my plan completely. I was like, what plan? And didn't even realize it had happened. Suddenly I would look back and go, why am I gaining weight? Wait, I was doing that plan. Why isn't that working anymore? Oh, I'm not actually doing it, but I know what to do. So why am I not doing it? And I would just go down a rabbit hole of not knowing, how to get back on track. And that was just so predictable. And it happened in everything I tried, everything I did. And it was because in all those situations, I had the same mindset of, guess what? I failed. I blew it. And if I don't do it perfect, then it's wrong. And I'm not doing it right. So then my lovely Cheri here, my coach, introduced me to Optavia. And having a coach to be accountable to and to touch base with, I no longer had the rabbit hole, because I would start to go like, oh, I'm disempowered. And Cheri would go, excuse me, you lost 2 pounds. And I'd be like, oh, right. I get to actually acknowledge what I do, because that's another thing I didn't do. I didn't acknowledge the small victories, the non-scale victories of putting on a belt that I haven't worn in a long time and going, it doesn't fit. Or going down a pant size or a dress size, or seeing inches, losing inches when the scale's not moving. So there would be all these things that I didn't acknowledge. And suddenly, she would highlight those for me, and there's no rabbit hole to go down. Suddenly I'm like, oh, well, I want to keep going with that. So then I was on track again. And so I really got present to a mindset shift. And it's like any plan you can do for a short period of time, but without the coach, for me, that was huge. That suddenly, I couldn't just live in that disempowerment, because she was there empowering me. And I was just like, okay. And then, of course, I started having success, and people started noticing, and I started feeling more energy, and, just better, just feeling healthier. And so I was like, man, okay. When it came up with the opportunity, of course, at first she said, wow, you'd be a great coach. And I'm like, oh, I don't know enough about nutrition and everything. And then I realized, she's talking about the mindset shift again. And I had done some personal development where I was like, I'd love to share this actually with people, that it really isn't about necessarily what you're putting in your mouth. And that's not the only thing. That is, of course, a key part, but it's not just about that. It's really the success part is about, and the longevity of success is about where your mind is and where you let it go. And like Dave had mentioned, stop, challenge, and choose. And what I really got, I went to the convention recently, and what I got was stop, challenge, choose. I would hear it and I would kind of get it conceptually, but it's really about switching. There's a switch that happens in that, of like that disempowerment of, oh, I blew it, to, wait, you lost 2 pounds. Oh, I lost 2 pounds. Okay, that's what I want to concentrate on, or, okay, let's see, there's some chips in the cabinet, and then going, wait, there's chips, but you know what? I want to lose 2 more pounds. I'm going to go get a bar. So just really in that moment, the stop, challenge, choose, it's the switch that really hit me of making a different choice. So switching the mindset. So now I'm paying it forward as a coach, and I get to help other people, lead them to their own discoveries of the mindset shift.
Awesome. Anybody have questions for Kim and her journey or her story? Okay, I have one. What would you say would have been the hardest part for you about kind of getting started?
Getting started on the plan, or what part?
Yeah, like the first week, because, new
Mhm.
people who might be watching or just kind of thinking about if it's something they want to get started. So there's a lot of fear with just kind of getting started. So
Yeah.
what would you say was the hardest thing about just getting started that first week?
My own belief that I could do it and that it could be different. I think still the mindset
Right.
because I hadn't had the shift. And so it's like, well, isn't this going to be like everything else? Yeah, I can do it great for the first 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. And then I'm going to do what I always do because it's so predictable.
Yes.
And you really helped me see that there could be something else possible.
Right. And even though I would say the mindset of everything that you and Dave both talked about, that is the reason why I do feel so much different than I did before. But what would be the specific healthy body things that have improved for you since November?
Healthy body thing?
Yeah, it could be weight, scale,
Losing.
size, measurement, whatever you want to share about that.
All of it. I've lost and kept off 30 pounds. Actually, I have a I have a scale victory to share with you all. 3 years ago, I was 260 pounds, and this morning I stepped on the scale and I saw 199. I saw one in the front, and it was very exciting.
That's huge, Kim.
It's
I love
super
it.
huge.
I know we haven't even talked about it yet for you. Yay.
I know. So yeah, that's a scale victory. And a non-scale victory was I found a belt a while ago that I had bought at my heaviest, and I put it around my waist and like held it out probably 5 or 6 inches, because that's how, and I had punched holes in it to make it smaller, and even there it wouldn't fit. And it was just like, seriously? Wow. Yeah. And then of course for convention, I was like, oh, I'll bring this cocktail dress that I have because it's my favorite cocktail dress, my favorite dress up dress. And I put it on and it was baggy. And it was like, great, but what am I going to wear? But it was totally like, wow. Because again, it's that like you get it's so incremental, the success, the physical success, that sometimes we really don't acknowledge how far we've come. And putting on that dress, I couldn't deny it. It's like, this does not fit.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you both for sharing so much.
Oh, yeah. I want to ask.
Yes. Okay, good.
Kim, what? So let's see. So for looking at this as and understanding this as a lifestyle, have you had that shift in your mindset, or do you, or if not, how do you see where you're moving towards that understanding of lifestyle that this actually is?
Yeah, I'm still on the 5-in-1, and for me, I still have real life happen, and I still buy pizza for my family, and I'm like, dang it, I'm just going to have a piece. And the shift is I don't beat myself up for it. I have it, and then the very next thing that I choose to put in my mouth is something healthy. The very next meal, the very next thing. So my shift is I don't let it disempower me anymore. I go, okay, I chose to have that pizza, and I get the consequence of whatever that means. If I'm out of fat burn, if I gain a pound or two, that's just what's so, right? That's just how it goes. So I don't beat myself up, and I stay, okay, on track. Next thing is back on track. So that would be the biggest lifestyle, that I don't have to beat myself up. And yes, I'm going to have ice cream sometimes, and right back on track.
Good. Bonnie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Kim, you brought up the pizza with the family. How do you manage your food and your program with feeding the family and getting them all their food?
Yeah. I realize that they're not doing what I'm doing. And so, you know, or we'll have a busy night or whatever. And so I choose mostly healthy meals. You know, I kind of try and keep that, like, I don't know, they say like a 80-20, you know, so I'm like, okay, well, if 6 days of the week I'm having lean and greens and I'm doing well, then when that moment comes up that I'm like, okay, I really want to have pizza, then I have the pizza, like I said, you know, but they do eat other things. And luckily for me, they're teenagers, older teenagers. So a lot of times it's fend for yourself. And so we all get our own things. So I'll make a salad or stir fry or something. And sometimes they eat what I'm eating because I make it and it's healthy, and they don't even know it's healthy. You know, I'll make zoodles with like turkey meatballs or something, and they're just like, yum, it's dinner. Okay, thanks for making dinner, not making me fend for myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave and Kim, both, for sharing your stories. And on our weekly client appreciation calls, which really is all about building community, appreciating each other, really, just the fact that we're all on this journey together, and that's the power of better together. And that every week we'll share a habit of health, because those are the things that we are practicing. So this week's habit of health is to continue, or start if you're new, to fuel your body every few hours, because that is one of the habits of health. So Kim really talked about, you know, having something healthy right after you would have something else. But no matter what it is, as you learn to make healthier choices with practice, to fuel your body every few hours, starting the first half hour that you wake up in the morning, it really does give you more energy and increases your metabolism, equals out your blood sugar. There's so many positive effects of that habit of fueling your body every few hours. So that's a good habit that we're just going to remind us to practice in our life. And then the other thing is, every week we're going to do this client appreciation call. Coaches are actually going to invite their clients to share, you know, come share your story for 3 to 5 minutes, and then people will ask questions, and we're going to continue to learn and grow from each other. So this call will be Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we just really invite you to, in your own world, to share what's happening and been positive and awesome for you. Because obviously for us, if someone hadn't shared it with us, we would not be where we are today. But definitely to continue inviting them even to this call. People are welcome to get on and just listen. They don't have to ask questions. They don't have to speak if it's just something that they want to get on to find out more about. So that's the idea. Every Thursday night is we're going to share our stories, ask questions, and continue to grow and support each other. So I thank you guys so much for being on, and then we will see you next week, if not before. Thank you guys. Bye.